Chapter 153. Enoch's soliloquy on the stranger's wisdom. Abbot's dream and great foreknowledge. When Enoch had heard this from the stranger, he felt very peculiar and no longer knew what to think. He pondered and soliloquized. The more I ponder his words, the more I see their irrefutable truth. Yet again, I cannot remember that the High Abbot had ever told us anything about it. It is truly strange. One could not imagine anything purer than these very words. And, as I said, Abbot had not proclaimed this. His teaching was mainly aimed at love and humility, and his bidding to me was to preach only love and all humility resulting from it. However, if I now thoroughly ponder the words of this stranger, it seems nevertheless, despite their correctness, somewhat peculiar that a precept proclaimed by an ordained teacher should be subject to the judgment of every single man before it can be accepted as fully valid, and be in complete agreement with each judgment. On the other hand, again, it is true that a precept is good for nothing unless it is completely accepted by the hearts to which it was directed. So what is to be done here? In short, a rule there must be, and it shall be as follows. What you recognize as perfectly correct, good, and true, no matter from whose mouth it comes, you shall not withhold from your brothers, for they, too, just like you, have an immortal spirit. To this rule, even Jehovah himself can surely have no objection. Therefore, I will do according to the words of the unknown man. Here, for instance, is already my dear brother Abbot. Let us see and hear what he has to say to it. At this, Enoch turned to Abbot and said to him, Brother Abbot, like I and all the others, you have heard the most precious words of the unknown brother. Behold, you are being offered a large piece of bread. Take a bite, and then tell us your verdict as to whether and how it satisfies your heart's understanding. Now Abbot took quite a fright, and no longer knew what to reply. For during the main speech of the stranger, he had been constantly preoccupied with himself, and therefore did not know, really, what the topic was. So, when he had collected himself somewhat, he asked Enoch in a low, confidential tone what it actually was about which he was to pass a verdict. Thereupon Enoch said to him, Yes, my dear brother, if you lack in the proper spiritual alertness, you are of course by far not awake as yet, but are still asleep. And one asleep cannot possibly pass a judgment. Did you completely fail to listen when the stranger most wisely pointed out to me the difference between created beings and children of God, showing me the difference between life under judgment and the death of sin? Oh, you deaf and dumb spirit! How could the most important revelation of life elude you? Only through this rap on the knuckles did Abbot awake, and he found within himself the whole speech of the stranger, shining like a rising sun, and thereupon said, Do not take offence at my involuntary sleepiness, dear brother Enoch, For now I have found it entirely within me, and tell you that all the stranger said is in my judgment, as pure and right as the sun in the serenest morning. Of this you can be fully assured. More I need not tell you. Here I only wish to pass a remark concerning this stranger, namely, Brother Hanoch, always remember the great love of Jehovah, our most holy Father, for he walks at all times on such roads as the keenest and profoundest angel cannot ever behold and fathom. Behold, I am a sleeper, but it seems to me that this time I see more in my sleep than you do while awake. However, I do not tell you what I see, not until you will see it as well as I am seeing it. Here the stranger stepped up to Abbedam and said to him, Truly, you can believe it. The eyes of your spirit do not deceive you. But at certain times it is better for many a spirit not to see too early to the core of that which is before it. I, too, have known this from long experience. Therefore, you are right in not telling what you see until also another sees it. Here Hanoch asked the stranger, Brother, what does that mean? Truly, this is the first time that I cannot comprehend Abbedam. Do tell me what it is that I do not see. For, being a real sage, you must surely also know that uncertainty is the greatest torment for the spirit, and worse even than death itself. So do tell me, I beg of you. But the stranger said to him, Hanoch, I tell you, ask your heart. If that tells you nothing, then whatever I told you would be of little benefit to you. What counts also here is one's own judgment. To be sure, you judge the trees by the fruits. Therefore, if a tree bears living fruits, what is the tree itself like? Or have you ever seen living fruits grow from a withered trunk? Destructive moss, for sure, but no living fruit. However, if you discover in a brother living fruits of words, it is certainly incomprehensible that you fail to recognize the brother better. Here Hanoch was even more amazed, and began to look intently at Abbedam. But Abbedam said, Brother, you scrutinize me in vain. Rather scrutinize someone else, and you will be sure to discover more in him than in me. Behold, he is not far from us. This you will surely understand, dear brother.